I think there's a high probability that there's going to be a lot of people on the panel and the target audience on YouTube that have never thought about my perspective because I'm a minority of a minority. Do I understand that the politics could dive into different arms like everyone has talked about? Absolutely. But for me, Trump already messed up when he made it a very difficult time for me to exist with his rhetoric. A man's job is to protect and provide. Well, he didn't protect me and my community when shit hit the fan through what he was saying with the hate crimes and everything that happened. So he already fucked up, in my opinion, to me. And
I'm
I
sorry.
can't
I'm
stand
sorry.
by
What hate crimes? What hate crimes?
the increase of hate crimes against Asian Americans that happened when he was spewing his rhetoric. So the thing
I
is
believe
that
that all
I
of this
don't,
made up. I believe that all of this made up because black
the
people, they still
women,
don't have an anti-black crime hate bill. So I'm trying to figure out when did crime go up. That was all
the
fabricated by the
six,
media.
the six Asians who
I'll
were
let you, I'll
targeted
let you
and
keep going. It
died.
was all fabricated by the
Include
media. They just hung a black man by a tree and said he did it himself. That was all fabricated by the media.
Is it okay if I finish?
I'm just
I
saying.
know the girl personally. That wasn't fabricated. That was not fabricated. I know her personally, and that's what's
So,
crazy.
Let her finish, ladies. Let her
Ladies,
finish.
ladies, I gotta
so,
let her finish.
so being that said, I don't want to go through another term of waking up to text messages and phone calls from my loved ones saying, please be careful out there. I don't be careful, be more aware of your surroundings due to the fact that I'm going to assume responsibility for what came out of his mouth, even though I am an American citizen. So for me, that I can't let that happen again. That's not okay for me. I'm not saying that the Biden administration did everything that they should. However, typically when I express this, it's very common, just like her reaction, for this to get glossed over. I understand it's not important for you, but it's important for me, which is why I say it's difficult when you're a minority of a minority, because most of the time when I express this, it's fallen on deaf ears and you, oh, that's the Asian community went, I'm like less than 3%, probably 2%. So it's a slippery slope and a lot of people aren't going to get it, and I understand that. But unless you were in my shoes, and Trump didn't do anything, he just was like, eh. If you're going to be a leader for all people. Watch what you say. It affects people. Like, I don't want to have to call my mom and be like, please be careful going to the grocery store. You know, people, she's not even Chinese. But look what happened. He didn't control it. He failed in my mind from the beginning. So, I mean, like I said, we could go down
You
all
gotta
the
tell
different
my
avenues
son
of
to watch his dad
policies.
every day. I have a 19-year-old that lives in Texas. So I understand your plight. I don't want you to feel like that it's falling on deaf ears, but I feel like a lot of
It,
that
it kind of did because you didn't let me
was
It,
finish. You
by the
kind of
media.
just pulled the
yeah.
rug out from underneath of me without letting me finish. Like, this is a
I already
real
knew it was
concern for Asian Americans who don't want to have to deal with this with him being in office. But like I
but
said, I'm
you're
used to
okay
it.
with them funding a war slaughtering millions of people
I have
overseas.
the
Okay.
priority in my life is my protection, my
So is
safety,
mine.
my what's that exactly. So that's why I do feel like my point is completely valid.
But that's just like
So
saying if you listen to rap music, that means you finna go up and shoot up everybody. You don't have to do like people already felt the way
so
they
you're
felt. People
saying
that are acting that way already felt the way they
All
felt.
right, honey, y'all. One at a time. One at a time, y'all.
It didn't
all the
incite you.
studies that proved his rhetoric did increase the hate crime over 400 some percent is an issue for me. And I understand it's not an issue for you, but that's why we vote for what we care about. And I voted for what I care about, which is my personal safety and my family's. So I think
What
that's valid. I think that's okay. I'm not saying that her administration is peachy keen, but it strikes a nerve with me. And if it falls on deaf ears, then so be it. But it's the reality of my existence and the people that look like me in the United States.
hey,
But last time I checked,
So,
we're the
so,
United States, all
Ellie,
people.
I got a
So
quick question.
thing
Are
is,
you
though,
speaking on the
there is a bill for hate crime. There is a hate crime bill already. So,
well,
is your issue because of what he said, or is your issue with the bill?
and how he handled it. He just ignored it. He just kept on going with his rhetoric and didn't, if he had an opportunity to bring it back, but he chose not to. He chose to ignore it. And that's not okay with me. I how could I
Okay,
be okay to let that happen again?
Wait. I
So
just got a. I got a quick
when he
question.
said that, it made it sound like you had an issue with it's not a bill.
Issues. It's his character. He does not stop hate rhetoric. When we had the
Right.
attack on the Capitol, he wanted to say people have a right to do what they want to do, and that's the issue. Regardless of the policies, regardless of plans on implementing, I don't trust him as a leader, and I think
Right.
that's what Ali is saying. It's
Right.
just a company.
Like
You can
it's
So quick question.
right.
Quick question. So Ali, are you speaking about him saying that the virus came from China?
And continually saying China virus and not him knowing the hate crime is going up and just being like,
So
well, it came from China anyway.
right.
Really, we can do better than that. Like,
Well,
if you know the people in the United States are bucking up because of the way you're sensationalizing it, then do something about it.
That's fair.
But he
That's fair.
didn't. Right? Like, but that's why I'm saying it's so difficult for me to share this because a lot of people don't care. And
Well, no, I get that. I get that. I think, and this is probably just from a detached perspective, right? So when we had the Spanish flu that came from Spain, and we labeled it the Spanish flu. When Ebola came around, that came from Africa. The West Nile, it came from the West Nile. So I think that by default, at least in America, we're conditioned to label it the disease or virus or whatever. We're conditioned to label it from where it came from.
Right.
The other part too, going to Brittany's comment.
And we got to bring this to a close too, Viz, because we got to move on. So nobody else talk out the Viz, so we can move on.
For sure.
Can I just say real quick? Then
I'm gonna just say this real quick. So Brittany, we love to bring up January 6th, but we leave out the Black Lives Matters riots. Like, we literally watch half the country burn down, and the Democrats do nothing about it. They literally told people to remain in the streets and continue doing what they're doing. So if it's one of those things where I think Di was mentioning of how one side does one thing and nobody acknowledges the other. So
But when you're the president of the United States, you have a different voice. You have a different level of impact. So I don't want to compare what happened at the Capitol to the Black Lives Matter riots, because the president of the United States had the ability and the authority to do something about that, and he did not. And that, along with so many other things that he's done in the media, further supports why his character is horrible. And he is not the right candidate to lead this country based on his character alone, not looking at the policies and the initiatives that he plans on implementing. I think, like to Ali's point, to my point, and a lot of other people's point, it is about his character and the message that he has spread for years to come.
I just wanted to say the last thing, and it's not really to do with anything with Trump's character or anything like that, but I feel like we are all here to give our opinions. And Ali, being, totally a separate minority and using this as a vulnerable space to tell us how she felt in her perspective, in her community's perspective, we should give everyone the respect that we would want to give when we are sharing things that are personable to us, especially as Black people, because we are the first ones to jump up and say when things don't sit right with us, when we're not happy with things or not happy with certain things that go on with us. So when someone else is speaking that comes from a different culture that we know nothing about, that we actually step back and watch their people get attacked and have different problems because, or whether you feel like it was indirect or directly from what Trump did, allow her to speak. Yeah. I just felt like that was extremely rude and unnecessary to jump in and cut her off multiple times and try to compare your struggle to hers when she's talking about her specific experience. Come on now, we are better. We can do better and we will do better. Thank you. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I just want to say, Ali,
it wasn't the men doing that. It was the other women doing that. So don't put that again. We understand hierarchy. We seen who was doing that. It was another woman. Just like Kamala Harris, she was doing us. Fuck her.
Hey,
But
be
Ali, I want
quiet.
to sharing that with us
I
because
mean,
I do feel like at times we as Black people, when we hear other minorities talk, we like, okay, what about us? What about what we went through too? So I just want to thank you for sharing.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't think what a lot of people in the Black community realize is I'm in an interesting position because I'm neither Black nor white. So I can
Right.
see things that you guys see and hear things said behind your guys' back all the time on both sides. So it's like I hear you guys and what you guys are saying, but yeah, it is frustrating. Thank you so much, Ty, for mentioning that because it is true. Sometimes our opinions are unheard, and that's what this platform is for. So if there's anybody
Yeah,
watching that can resonate
know who else
with
had
what I said,
guys, y'all know who else had an opinion though? It was JR, and he said nobody was supposed to talk after Viz, and it's obvious y'all don't know how to follow goddamn directions.
You still talking, Hank?
I'm just want to let me know. JR, good job, big brother. Take over the show.
JR.
Screw these ladies and gentlemen.